Welcome everybody to Glow Your Own 2025 session 2. It's wonderful to have so many people returning, and I think there may be a couple of new people too, which is great. You can always start at any point you like. There's the worksheets to catch up with and the videos online that you can use to catch up with too. So if you're new to this, start now. My name's Dane Comerford. I'm the director of IF Oxford, and I've got some brilliant helpers today who I'm going to get to introduce in a second. But today we're going to be putting some code onto your Arduino and building a real physical circuit. So that's something to look forward to. But first up, I'm going to introduce, or ask James rather, to introduce himself. So James is new.
So I'm James. I'm a scientific computing graduate based at RAL. I'm currently rotating through different areas. So right now, I'm programming a website called InfraPortal. So that's basically a catalog of all the UK's research infrastructures. But soon I'll be moving to the hardware operations team. So that sort of manages the huge data center based at RAL, so it stores all the data for all the experiments. So I'm very excited for that.
Great. Well, it's lovely to have you here, James. It's so James is doing a lot of computing and coding in his real job, and is joining us tonight for the first time. So that's brilliant. Next up, I'm going to ask Sarah to introduce herself.
Hi everybody. So I'm Sarah. I work at Corpus Christi College Library, so I'm very excited to be here. I've helped out with Glow Your Own for a few years now and I've missed it, so I'm really glad that it's back, and I'm looking forward to helping you troubleshoot your code and your circuits in the chat.
So Sarah's brilliant. Sarah used to work at Science Oxford and helped start Glow Your Own all the way back during the pandemic in 2020, and we've been doing it ever since. Next up, we've got Vicky, so I'm going to ask Vicky to say hello.
Hello everyone. Hi, I work with Sophie at the Rutherford Appleton laboratory, and I'm currently just trying to sort out the Arduino that Sophie gave me earlier today that is now not working.
Oh, well, we'll fix that one up later. That's totally fine.
We'll fix it, don't worry.
Cool.
And you can see Vicky's wonderful Martian surface there with a little galaxy and a rover and all sorts of bits and pieces. So we'll come back to that in a moment. You can get the Arduino all ready. Brilliant. And then last but by no means least, we've got Sophie, who you've met before. So
hello everybody, it is lovely to see you again. Thank you for coming and joining us to do the second session of Glow Your Own. Do we have anything else that we need to talk about to begin with, Dane?
I don't think of anything, but I think we can just jump in.
Jump straight in.
So we'll do a little bit of Tinkercad as usual. So I'm going to put in the chat the Tinkercad classroom number. So if you are able to join using the classroom number, put in your Tinkercad unique code, which is 2025.glow and then 3 numbers, probably starting with a 0 because we haven't got to 100 yet. So put those numbers in, and that will help us track what you're doing in the background. So if you shout out for help later, we'll be able to help you. If you do need some help, please say what is going wrong or not working as you want it to do in the chat box, and Sarah and I will do our very best to sort it out for you. But I think it's time to get doing some coding.
Time to get doing some coding. Wonderful. This is the best bit. All right. So I'm just going to share my screen and try and share the right screen. And as Dane said, we're going to start again with Tinkercad. It's always the best place to start for us to check that all of our code is working right. So I put the code class in, so I'm just going to click to go to my class, and then we click join with login code, and my code is Dane literally just said what the order is. I know it's 2025.glow. That's the same for everyone, and then I am 001 because I'm the first person that we set up. So I'm going to go to my class now, and you'll see you've got all of the different things that Tinkercad can do. And if you look down here, if you scroll down a bit to circuits, you will see any circuits that you have made before. Now, before we joined, Dane said he was going to publicly berate me, tell me off, because you'll notice that this circuit is called something really weird, Fantastic USAM Bojo or something, because I forgot to name it something sensible, which was very, very silly of me. So this time I'm on it, Dane. I'm going to name it something sensible so we know we can remember what it was.
Good work.
Thank you very much. Right, so if you would like, you can start with that same circuit. So you could just click on it. If you've got an old one, you can press Tinker this. But I'm going to create a new circuit and just refresh us all as we go through it. Now, so if anybody is new, then they can catch up with us, but also it will just be a little reminder for the rest of us as to how we do everything. So I created a new circuit and I've got my lovely little workspace here. And the first thing I'm going to do, Dane, I'm going to rename myself. So
Excellent.
Up here in the top left of the screen, if you click on the name, you can change it to something sensible. So I'm going to call it GYO for Glow Your Own Session 2, because that's the session that we're doing. Okay. So just a reminder to everyone that we are recording this. So if you miss a step or your computer glitches out for a second or you didn't quite understand it, then you can always rewatch the recording, which will come out in the next couple of days. You can pause us so that you can check that you've got all of the steps right. So don't worry if it doesn't work first time. I'm sure James will agree with me. Coding hardly ever works first time for us. We've just got to keep trying till we get it right. Okay, so what we're going to do today is very exciting. Vicky showed you her the beautiful Marscape that she has created, and this morning we made one of the stars. So we put an LED, a light in for one of the stars, and I coded it up and had it twinkling away in the background. And that is what we are going to do today, but we might do it with 2 stars, which is very exciting. And we're going to do it not just on Tinkercad, we're also going to do it with a real live Arduino. If you don't have a real live Arduino or you don't have one yet, that's completely fine. You'll still get all of the things you can still do all of the activities just online on Tinkercad. Okay, so first thing we need to do is I need to move the picture of all of you off because it was covering up all of my components over here. You'll remember that all of the different components that we can use are over here on the right hand side. So I'm going to bring an Arduino. So I want to start with my Arduino, which is how we control our electronic components. I'm going to click on it and drag it out over here. And then I'm going to get my lovely little breadboard, drag it out over here. So we're going to start with the same circuit that we did last week, and then we're going to add another light to it. Okay. So you'll remember that the light is just up here a little bit. So I'm going to click one light, and I'm going to do just the same circuit as before. So we'll do this bit quite quickly, but then I have got all of the time of the world to watch it on the recording. And Dane has also sent you the instruction sheets, so they'll take you through step by step. So I've put my LED on. Next step was to put a connector to, that's a connector, by which I meant a wire. Apparently I couldn't remember the word for wire. We're going to connect our light to our Arduino with a wire. So I'm going to start by clicking where I want my wire to start, which is here. Now, you'll remember that on Tinkercad, the breadboard is really helpful, because if I hover over one of the little holes or sockets on the breadboard, I can see what it is connected to. So I can check that, yep, that is connected to the LED because the green circle is going around the LED. Okay, so I'm going to start here, and then I'm going to go to pin number 4. And then remember, because I like things to be nice and straight, I'm going to make my wire nice and straight like that. Okay, does anyone remember what other component? We're going to have another wire, but does anyone remember what other component we're going to have in the circuit from last time? It's okay if you don't, but if you do have an idea, you can pop it in the chat. So I'll give you a minute to catch up. And also, fantastic, brilliant. Oh, you were paying attention. That always makes me so happy. Yes, so we are going to add a resistor in, which is just going to make the make sure that we don't have too much power going to our light, and we're going to connect it to ground. Brilliant job, everybody. So I'm going to connect my resistor like this. So you can see if we do our tracing through our circuit, we start in our Arduino, through the wire, through the LED, and then through the resistor. Now you remember, I'm just going to zoom out of this a little bit. I'm going to change the resistance, the strength of my resistor to 220 and then ohms. That tells you how strong the resistor is. So it should look a bit like this. And then that last wire is going to go from this line here, which is connected to the resistor, all the way to ground. Click. And then I'm going to make that wire brown because it's going to the ground. Okay, so that is our first circuit. That's the same circuit that we did last time. So we did go through it a little bit quickly. Don't worry, because like we said, it is being recorded. So give me a thumbs up when you're ready for the next component. The next thing we're going to do, because we're going to add some more LEDs. And you know what? I've realized that I can't see any thumbs up because I can't see all of you.
There were loads of thumbs up.
There were loads of thumbs up.
There's an exploding thumbs up just now. It's
fantastic. All right then. Sorry, I could only see Dane, and Dane didn't give me a thumbs up, so that was all I could see. Great. All right, so we are going to add, before we do any more coding, we're going to add another LED so that we can have 2 stars flashing away. So I'm going to grab another LED and I'm going to pop it just a little bit further along. And then I think I'm going to change the color of my LED to a yellow one. So I've got one yellow and one red. And I just want to be able to control those 2 LEDs separately. So I want to be able to say, Arduino, turn the red light on. Arduino, turn the yellow light on. So I'm just going to do exactly the same circuit for the yellow light. So that means I need this wire here, an equivalent of this wire. So I go from here to a different pin on the Arduino. I'm going to pick pin 7, like that. I'm going to make it green so that it matches. And then I need one more resistor to go so that I've got this complete circuit as well. So it goes from here all the way along here and then down and through. So let's put this resistor here. And again, change its strength. Okay, so now I've got 2 circuits because both of them are connected to this ground. So I can go down this same wire to the ground. Okay, so are you ready to do what is my favorite bit of it, which is the coding bit? That's my favorite. Give me a thumbs up if we're going to do, if you're happy for us to do that. I'm just going to shuffle it around ever so slightly.
Loads of thumbs up.
Loads of thumbs up. Fantastic.
Along nicely.
Oh, you're doing brilliantly, everybody. Great job. So we're going to do the coding and then we're going to make it in real life and send it to our real life Arduino. So the coding, you'll remember just up here on the top right, there's a little button that says code. So we're going to click on that button, and the Tinkercad is going to say, oh, I know, do you want to do this code? That's not the code that we want. So we're going to remove this code. And they've got just by pulling it down here and putting it in the bin. Noise when it goes in the bin, Dane. Listening? No? Or I might not have shared the sound. I think it makes a cool noise when it goes in. All right. So I'm going to write some code that is going to control these LEDs. And I think what I would like to do with that is I'm going to make them flash, I think. I think both of them will flash. That might be nice. All right. So I'm going to do, I want to turn one of them on. So I'm going to turn the red one on to start with. So that is the one that is connected to pin 4. So I need to send instructions to pin 4. So in output, because I'm sending something out, I'm going to set pin 4 to high, like that. So that will send an instruction out here saying turn on. And I want to, my yellow LED, which is connected to pin 7, I want that to be turned off. So I'm going to get another one, but instead of saying set pin 4 to high, I'm going to set pin 7, because that's the yellow one. See, it's connected to pin 7 here, to low, because I want that to be turned off. Then I'm going to wait for a minute. Well, not for a minute, because that would be boring. I'm going to wait for a second. So I click on control and then hit wait. And then I'm going to flip them. So I want my red one to be turned off and my yellow one to be turned on. Okay. So Dane reminded me that there is a neat trick in Tinkercad that if you on your blocks like this, so you can't see, but I'm clicking my right mouse mat, it comes up with this little helpful thing, and I can delete it, which I don't want to do, or I can duplicate it, so I can just copy that whole set. So now I've got 2 copies of it, and that just saves me a little bit of time, which is nice, and I can click it there. But this is exactly the same, isn't it? So this would turn my red one on, number 4 on, turn my yellow one off, that's pin 7, and wait, and then do exactly the same thing. So I want to change these 2 commands so that my red one, pin 4, is off or low, and my yellow one, pin 7, is on or high. So you can just click on it and then do that. All right, you're doing great. You're doing a great job, everyone. I've got one more little bit of code to add in because we want this to happen forever. We just want it to keep on flashing on and on and on. So I'm going to use a forever loop and pop it around the whole of the thing. And now we've got our code. Okay, how's everybody doing? I can see at least 1 tick. Fantastic. Oh, and you were right. Great job. Have you got the code sorted? I've got some great. I can see some ticks, which is brilliant.
We've just had our first bread. We've just had our first bread emoji as well.
Oh, fantastic! Like we've said, don't worry if it doesn't work to start with, because often it doesn't. That is coding. You have to persevere quite a lot with coding. I'm sure James and Sarah will agree with me. Most often, first time it works, it doesn't. First time you put it on, it doesn't work. Second time, it doesn't work. And then you just keep trying until you get it to work. So I'm going to check whether my code and my circuit work. So you'll remember that Tinkercad is really neat because we can simulate it. We can pretend So you all ready to press to start the simulation? All right, so let's go. So I'm going to start simulation. Cross your fingers. Thinking about it. Right, my red light's on, then my yellow, then my red, then my yellow, then my red, then my yellow. So my code is working. How did you all do? Do you have flashing lights? Give me a thumbs up, or some fantastic. I can see some of you done, or a little smiley face or something that's working. Like we always say, if it doesn't work first time, don't worry. You can pop in the chat if it's not quite working for you. Then the Sarah and James and Dane can have a look at your code, see what might be the problem, and have another go. Oh, fantastic. Oh, I can see a light bulb. That's brilliant. Fab. Okay. Great job, everybody. Fantastic job. Don't worry though, because remember this is recorded, so you can go back and pause us and figure out what is happening where. So now we've got some code. I think it is time to send this code to a real physical Arduino. All right, so we can do it in real life and we can make our stars twinkle just like the star is possibly twinkling in the Marsscape that Vicky has made. Have you got it working yet, Vicky?
Yes, I've got the one on the breadboard working. I'm now just trying to make the one in the actual scene work, and I think I've got the wires the
Yay!
wrong way round.
Yeah, that does happen. We'll talk about that in just a second. All right, so I'm going to stop my simulation and stop my screen share because I have here in just to the left of me, I've got a little camera called Arduino Cam. I'm just going to spotlight it for everyone. You can see here, this is my hand. Hello. Can everyone see that? And this is my real Arduino. So some of you, I think, have some. I know that you were showing, some of you were showing us yours earlier in the session. So you can see that just like the one on Tinkercad, you've got the numbers down here next to the little holes, like that. And we're going to use our wires and our breadboards and our lights to make the same circuit that we made in Tinkercad. All right, so I've got my breadboard, I've got my Arduino. Now, before we start on this, I do have a few quick things that we need to be really careful about when we are working with real live Arduinos. So you'll see that they're quite small and the components for it. So I'm just going to open up my box and show you, like, here's one of my LEDs, my little lights. They're quite small, so they're quite easy to lose or to drop on the floor. And so you need to be really careful that that none of them are left on the floor. If anything falls on the floor, you pick it up and put it back in its box, especially if you've got little people around or pets or anything, because you don't want anyone to stand on one or to pick one up or anything like that. Now, there are different kinds of Arduinos. Some of them are called Elegoo. Some of them are called different things. That doesn't matter. So don't worry about that. They should all have these little holes at the side with the numbers by them. And you can even see, oh, the light is reflecting. You can see just here, one that says GND. for ground, just like in Tinkercad. Okay, so doesn't matter if it doesn't look exactly the same as my one. It will do the same thing. It's just like having different brands. Like, I'm trying to think of brands, but I'm really not a very cool person, so I don't know any brands of shoes or anything like that. But yeah, it's different brands, different makes. So it's like, oh, I know. It's like whether you go to Asda or Tesco, they both have salt and vinegar crisps. The packets look different, but it's the same thing. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do is find a wire. Like, I've got my little green wire, and I'm going to connect my wire to my breadboard. Okay. Now, eventually we will be connecting our Arduinos to our computers, and that is so that we can send instructions to them, and also so that we can, sorry everyone, so that we can give it some power. But it's quite important that we don't plug it in while we're making our circuits. For these ones, it's only a tiny bit of power, but when you're working with real circuits, or when you're working with the kind of computers that James will work with when he starts the next part of his job, they can lots of power, and so they can hurt you. So the good rule to follow is never change an electric circuit if the circuit is powered on. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing, even though our circuit is so little that it doesn't really matter. All right, you ready for the first bit? Now, you can see here, I've got the different numbered pins along like this. I'm just going to tilt it up a little bit. And you remember that my circuit in Tinkercad was connected to pin number 4. So I'm going to plug my wire into pin number 4, just like I did in Tinkercad. Okay? And that is the very first step. How is it going, everyone? Have you got a piece of wire and connected it to your Arduino? If you have, give me a thumbs up. Oh, fantastic. I've got some lovely reactions. Good job. Oh, brilliant. Now, this bit does get a little bit fiddly, and it can be a bit hard to see on the screen. So like we would say, don't worry if you don't get it, because you can always watch the recording and pause so that you can get to the exact right part and follow every step as we go along. Okay, so the next bit is I'm going to connect it to my breadboard. Now, I'm not sharing my screen at the moment because it makes it easier for you to see the Arduino, but you can have your screen up, your Tinkercad screen up, and I am just double checking it to see where I plugged it in the breadboard. So it doesn't actually matter. I'm just going to plug it in here. I'm going to try and plug it in here. Sometimes it can be a little bit fiddly. Sometimes you have to wiggle them around a little bit to get them in. So now you can see that my wire is connected to my Arduino and connected to my breadboard. Okay, all right. So, sorry, excuse me. So don't worry if you haven't got all of the bits in there yet, because this is recorded. You can always watch the recording, and on the sheets that Dane has already sent round, there are also pictures of it as well, so you can look at it that way too. Okay, so if we think about the circuit in our Tinkercad, we go from the Arduino through the wire, and then we go to our LED. Okay, so I'm going to find an LED in my little box, and this is what they look like. Oh, in real life, I picked up 3 and then they all fell on the floor, not on the floor, on the desk. This is what they look like. Sorry, I'm really bad at directions. and so it's hard for me to know where to move my hand to show you. So this is what the LEDs look like. So you need to find one like that, whichever color you want. Now, one thing to notice is that one of these legs, which is what we call the little metal, the metal things, here and here, it's got two of them. One of them is a little bit longer than the other. Does anybody, no, I'm not going to say does anybody. Sarah, why is one of the legs longer than the other?
Me, putting me
Yeah.
on the spot, Sophie. So one of the legs goes to the positive and one goes to the negative, like we've done in our circuit. And we as humans need a way to be able to tell which one is which, because electricity can only flow one way through the LED. Is that right?
Yep, that's exactly right. So yes, one of them, LEDs are quite special, and they only let the electricity flow through them in one direction. So the most common mistake that happens in general, by which I mean that I make, is that I forget which way round it goes and I put my LED the wrong way round. So I'm going to try, and if it doesn't work, we'll just switch it around the other way.
I can show you a little thing as well. I've got a little coin battery here.
Yep, I'm just going to spotlight you, Dane, before you do.
Okay, so I've got a little LED here, and I've got my two legs at a different length, and I've got a regular coin battery. And so I'm not sure which way around. I think I'm going to intentionally put it in the wrong way around. So I've got my long leg at the top, and I've got my short leg at the bottom. And if I put it onto my battery, nothing happens. And if I turn it round, so I've not changed the direction of the battery, so I'm just going to flip it. So the long leg is at the bottom and the short leg is at the top. And there you go. Oh, nice and bright. It's so bright.
So bright, you disappear.
Like a magic LED.
Yeah.
So that's all you need to do with your breadboard. If you happen to put it in the wrong way around, you just switch it around and it will work like that.
That's what happened with my breadboard.
Yeah. That's the most.
It's a common troubleshooting tip that we will be coming back to later, I am sure.
Absolutely. All right.
If in doubt, turn it round.
Yep, absolutely. So can anyone remember if I meant to put the long end by the ground or the short end? Because I can't. I should have checked before. Vicky, which way around is yours? Yours is working.
Hang on, I'll check.
Oh, I know. You can see on the Arduino Tinkercad, so the Tinkercad helps you out. So if you look at your LED on your Tinkercad screen, you've got a leg that's sort of like dancing slightly to the right.
Mm-hmm.
That's your longer leg.
Right.
So the longer leg, the shorter leg wants to come to your resistor that's going to the ground, and then your longer leg wants to go into the Arduino itself. I'm pretty sure. But
I'm pretty sure mine's the other way around.
That also might be wrong. Let's just try it and see what happens.
Let's try it and see what happens. All right. So the important thing though is I'm going to make sure it's in the same it's in the same column, the same little row of holes as my green wire. And I'm going to pop it in. So one of them's going there and one of them I'm just going to put a couple away so that we can see it. So you can see if I twist it around that way a little bit, you can see one of the legs is here and one of the legs is here next to the ground. Sorry, next to the Arduino. Then I'm going to get a resistor. Now the resistors look a bit funny. They look like this. Oh, there we go. You see the resistor? Now your resistors will probably be labeled. So find one that's a couple of hundred, that says a couple of hundred ohms. So it could be 200 or 300, about that. And then I'm going to, just like in Tinkercad, to connect from my other leg of my LED here. And the same row, I'm going to pop that in there. And then I'm going to take it down the breadboard next to the blue line. Okay. So you can see one of the legs is connected to the same row as the LED, and one of them is connected to a different bit of the breadboard next to this blue line. Okay. So yeah. How's that going? We've got one more component and then we've made our physical circuit. So give me a thumbs up or something if you are ready for that next bit. But like I said, don't worry because this can be really fiddly. So if it doesn't, oh, wonderful. Oh, we've got a floating light bulb. I love the floating light bulb. So don't worry. If we're going a little bit fast, because you can always watch the recording and then pause us so that we're in the right, you're in the right place at the right time. Okay, great. I've got some great ones going. So I've got one more wire to go. Now that was a brown wire in my circuit diagram, but actually I don't have any brown wires in my little box. So I'm going to use an orange wire instead. And that's going to go to the ground, the one in the Arduino that says GND. So I'm going to plug it in next to the blue line, just like it is in Tinkercad. So that goes there. Pop that in there. And then I'm going to put it into my Arduino next to the thing that says GND, which is just, oh, sorry, the wire's in the way. Just here, GND. I'm going to pop that in there. Now, it is really easy, by which I mean I do it a lot, to put it in the one next to it instead. And that's a really common thing that goes wrong, for me at least. So I think I've got this one right. So that goes to GND. And now we've done our first real circuit, which is really, really exciting. Okay, which means we are now ready to send the code that we have already written to our new circuit. Okay. If you've got different values of resistors, don't worry too much. Try one of them. If it's a really strong resistor that you've got, then it will probably mean that your light is just a little bit dimmer than you might like. Or if you can only find really high ones that are kilo ohms, for instance, then it probably will just mean that your light is a bit dimmer. So you might want to look at it in not such a bright spot, but that's completely okay. Okay, all right. I'll give you another few seconds just to have a look at this. So I know that we made 2 lights in our Tinkercad, but actually I think I'm just going to do 1 light on the real circuit to start with, and we'll check this one out, and then we will send it to the real. We'll send our code out. So just giving you a little bit of time just to catch up. But like I keep saying, because it's important, we've got plenty of time. Everything's being recorded, so you can always check the recording and do that. Okay. Now I'm going to do one more thing with my physical Arduino. Oh, which is, you should have a wire that looks a bit like this. It's a USB wire. It's a big thick wire. Oh, and it's got one of the kind of older USB things on one end. And then mine has a square connector on the other end. Sorry, that's not quite in focus, is it? A square connector that goes into my Arduino. Now, you might have different connectors, different types of USB connectors. All does the same thing, so don't worry. They're just it's like different phones, sometimes having different connectors. So for me, the square one gets plugged in to my Arduino through this little silver bit here. So, let me plug that in like this. There we go. And then the other end is going to be connected to my computer. Now, that means it's powered, and so we're not going to change. So we're just going to make sure that we're not playing with the components too much while we do that. All right, so I'm just plugging it into my computer now at the other end. There we go. Oh, I don't know if you heard, but it made a mine made a ding dong noise because it's like, oh, I'm connected. And you can see just about here on my Arduino, there's a little light now that is now on. So there should be a little light, or a couple of little lights even, that are now on. And that just means that, yep, your Arduino is getting power from your computer. So that's a really good first step. You're doing really, really well. So I'm going to share my screen again. I'm going to remove the spotlight and share my screen so that I can show you how we transfer our code to the computer. I've lost the, it's not showing me the right thing. Here we go. Share. All right. Can you see the Tinkercad now, everybody?
Yes, yes, yes.
Wonderful. Right.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. So, the first thing I'm going to show you is up here. So in our code, kind of now in the middle-ish, there is a thing that says blocks that my mouse is over. You can change this by clicking on it and going to blocks plus text, because the blocks are really useful for us for doing our coding, but actually the computer isn't as good at understanding, or the Arduino isn't as good at understanding those nice blocks. So it translates it into a different language. Sarah just went on holiday to Spain. And so when she joined the call before everybody else, Dane said, instead of "how are you," he said "¿Qué tal?" because that is how you say "how are you" in Spanish. So it's just the same as translating from English into Spanish. We've translated, the computer translated from this language with our blocks to this language, which is called C++, because we are not very good at naming things. I don't actually know why it's called C++. There are other ones called C and stuff anyway. But this is the code that we're going to send to our Arduino. And to do that, we're going to go to another website. So if you open up a new tab here and then go to Duino, so you can see Duino.app, and Dane, if you could pop it in the chat, that would be fantastic.
Sure.
So if you just type in Duino, Duino.app, you'll get to this. It shows you a thing that says important things have changed. It shows this to me every single time. There's always something important, so we just ignore that. And this is a free thing to use to help us send code to real Arduinos. Now, what we want to do is we want to do some coding. So we're going to click over here with code. And we're going to create a new project. So click up here to start with, up in the top left. And then we're going to create a new project, which is just here.
Just before we carry on, I
Yep.
wanted to check, I might have missed it, but we're using Google Chrome as the browser. So if you're using Safari or Netscape or Edge or one of the other ones, it might not work. So Chrome is the best one to use for this particular program.
Yes, although it does work. We've been doing it with Edge earlier this week. So it does
new.
work.
Okay.
It's sometimes it's just a bit more temperamental. Yes. Okay. So we're going to do that, and we're going to create a new project. And I'm going to call my project GYO Session 2, because that's what I called my circuit in Tinkercad, and I'll be able to remember, right, that went to that. Okay, good. And then you click Create. Now, just like Tinkercad, Duino is really helpful. And it's like, oh, I know, would you like to do some code? I'll give you some code, which is very nice of it, but this isn't the code that we want. So what we're going to do is we're going to delete all of the code that it tells us. So you can do that just by clicking in there and then doing Control A on your keyboard, which will highlight everything, and then delete. And it all goes away, which is very, very helpful. Okay. And now we want to take the code that we have written ourselves and put it in the Duino app. So I'm going to click back to Tinkercad. And then here, I'm going to highlight all of this. And it is really important to highlight every single thing. Computers are really not very clever at all. And so they will, if you don't tell them exactly what to do, they will get all worried and be like, oh no, I don't understand. So even if you miss off just one tiny little thing, like this little last curly bracket at the end, the computer won't understand what you're talking about. So I've highlighted all of it, and then I'm copying it. So you can either do Control C, or you can right click and press copy. Both of them should work. So I've copied all of that, and then I'm going to go back to my Duino app and paste it, which you can do by Control and then V. So now it is in there. Okay, how's it going, everyone? This is the tricky bit, so don't worry, because we'll be here for the troubleshooting afterwards if anyone has any difficulties. There's also, so Dane sent out 2 different PDFs this morning or this afternoon, I can't remember.
Today.
Today. And one of them was just about this. So it has each step, everything is like circled for which different bit you need to do. So you can follow along on that as well as on the recording. Okay. All right. So we just have 2 more steps before we're sending our code to our Arduino. So fingers crossed, we're all going to, I'm going to get a lit up light in just a minute. The first step is down here. Now, we need to tell Duino what kind of device we're sending it to. So you can see just down here, there's a little button on the right-hand side that says select device. Okay, so I'm going to click on this. And then a little pop-up comes up. Now, Dane, can you see the pop-up? Because sometimes it doesn't show the pop-up.
I can see it. So
You
I
can see it.
PCI serial port COM6 and USB serial device COM5.
Yes.
Or
Now,
COM16. Sorry.
yeah. Now, hopefully yours will come up with some as well. Now, very helpfully, what it calls the Arduino seems to change with every different computer, which is really, really silly. But sometimes you just have to live with computers doing silly things. Sometimes it does come up and say Arduino. Sometimes it comes up and says Elegoo. Or sometimes it comes up and says USB serial device. So if there's one that says USB serial device or Arduino or Elegoo, then click that. So I've clicked it. If none of those come up, pop what does come up in the chat, and we can have a think together about which one we should click to check. And this will just connect to my Arduino. So I've clicked my USB serial device here, and I'm going to click connect. There we go. All right. So now I am ready, and I'm hoping and hoping and hoping it's going to work. Now, are you all ready to try this with me? We've got a couple of minutes. So if you are ready, then give me a thumbs up. But like I said, don't worry, because in 5 minutes, we're going to start the troubleshooting so we can look at everybody's code and everybody's circuits. And you can also watch it on the recording. Just double check and have a look in the chat. Brilliant. I can see that some people already got it working, which is fantastic.
a couple of people are having some troubles, but we're going to come back to everyone in the troubleshooting part just at the end. So if you just hang fire and we'll come back to you, but we're going to finish this recording in just a few minutes. We'll show you. I've had a couple of problems, but because I've done this course a couple of times, I know how to fix it. So I fixed mine, and I'll tell you what I did to fix it. But don't worry if it's not working. There are loads of different reasons why it might not work. Unfortunately, you have to have this all perfect for it to work. Even a tiny mistake means it won't work at all. And oftentimes it's something really simple, like the LEDs are the wrong way around, which is what mine were, or maybe the code has not in your Arduino, in your Tinkercad coding bit, a wire might not be quite going to the right place, or something on your Arduino might not quite be going to the right place. But all of these things are really simple to solve usually.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why we've got the troubleshooting bit. So yeah, and remember, if you did miss any of it, then it is recorded, so you can always watch it back and pause us. Try not to pause me in looking really silly, but you can pause us so you can figure out, do each step more slowly. All right, so I'm going to do the last step to send through to my thing, to my Arduino, sorry, which is this button up here on the right at the top. Now you can see there's one that says that's a tick, and then there's one that looks like a play button. And if you hover over that, it says compile and upload. Now compile is computer talk for, oh, I'm going to change the language again and turn it into machine speak. And upload means I'm going to send it out. I'm going to upload it. So I'm going to click this button, and then I'm going to cross my fingers because that always helps. And sorry, sending it to my computer. You try doing that as well. 3, 2, 1, click. Now it's thinking about it. It's sending it, and it says it is done. And if you're looking at Arduino Cam, you can see that my little Arduino, my little light is flashing away. Yay! Sorry, I'm very excited. I always like it when it works. I'm just going to spotlight that so that everyone can see it. So, oh, and I can see that some of you have done it. That is fantastic. Well done. Honestly, this is the one. This is the part of the course that is always the trickiest, because you've got so many new different things happening. You've got the coding, and you've got the Tinkercad, and you've got Duino, and you've got your physical Arduinos. But brilliantly well done, everybody. It might say 100% error. We've got some great fixes for that. So stick around for the troubleshooting session if you're having any difficulties. But if not, I think I will hand back over to Dane with a whole 1 minute left to go. Sorry, Dane, I cut that a bit close, didn't I?
That's all right.
To finish up the recording. Those of you joining us on the recording, hope it's working for you. And if not, send us a message and we'll do our best to help. All right, Dane.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and do my, how do I make, that's what I'm looking for. I think you might have not. So mine started working too. You can see it flashing.
Yay!
I've got 2 different colored ones, and I've got a ½ second interval and a 1 second interval. But when I first did it, my code uploaded properly. I made my circuit on Tinkercad correct. I'd made my physical circuit almost correct, but my LEDs were just in the wrong way around. And all I had to do was unplug, switch them round, almost like I did before with the coin battery, and it just worked straight away. So sometimes it's as simple as that. And I can see, oh, look, wow, I can see there's a star in the sky on our Martian landscape. So let's see if we can spotlight that one. Great, look at that. Wow.
Yay!
That's brilliant.
Our Martian landscape is shining away.
Great. So well done, everyone, for getting it working, and well done, everyone else, for almost getting working. And we're going to fix you up with the solution to get it working perfectly in a second. As Sophie's been saying throughout, please do watch the recording, and you can slow it down, you can speed it up, you can pause it, you can skip ahead. You can watch it in parallel with the worksheets that you've got, the PDF of the session 2 for making the code, and the PDF of uploading code to Duino. I mean, there's a lot going on here. So, you know, if you've made it work, top notch, that's brilliant. And if you've not made it work, you probably made it 95% of the way, and it's just that little extra bit that we're going to fix in the troubleshooting. If you've not been able to come to the session live today, but you might be able to make it to the troubleshooting session in the future that starts at 6 o'clock, please do drop in to the troubleshooting if you maybe you have an after school club or something like that, or something else that you've got to do. So please do feel free, if you're watching this on YouTube and want to come and get a little bit of personal help while Glow Your Own is happening all the way through till November on Wednesdays, please stop by and we'll give you a hand as best as we can. But it's been really great. Thanks, Sophie, for being wonderful. Thanks, Vicky, for making this Martian landscape come to life.
I love it so much.
Thanks, Sarah, for helping out with all of the help in the background. And thanks very much to our guest coder, who has been joining in too. So that's really nice. And we'll see you all next week. But well done. Keep on coding. And it's goodbye and good night for me and everyone else, I hope. And we'll see you again.
Bye. Goodbye, everyone. On
Bye.
recording. Bye.